Welcome to the Designers of Change podcast.
Designers of Change podcast is back, and on episode 2 we're going to be discussing environment. We're so happy that we're able to share with you. We're talking everything about leadership, personally, professionally, and how you can transform your very own space.
Yes, and I really am excited about this episode.
Yes.
Because last episode we talked about becoming, but now you need to be in the environment, because if the seed is not in the right environment, it will never ever become a tree for it to produce a fruit.
Absolutely. And so you want to listen for this discussion. But before we dive into all that we're going to be talking about, we just want to big up our sponsors. The Designers of Change podcast is proudly sponsored by Jamar Media, Vibrant Creative Studio, Mind Food International, Superlative Auto, and also Amanda's Kitchen Jamaica and Grace Creates. Jumping right back into our discussion. So, Jamar, we literally, don't be offended that I'm calling you Jamar and not Babes. All right, Babes. I don't want any trouble when I get home. So, yes, Babes. In the last discussion that we had in episode 1, you were talking about the seed and that inside of every leader is like a seed, right?
Yeah.
But you mentioned that we need to be in the right environment. So I
Yes.
want you to expound on that principle.
Here's the thing: the soil matters as much as the seed. And without the right environment that is conducive to growth, then the thing will never become itself. Here's the thing: water is water at room temperature.
Right.
But if you put that water in the freezer of a refrigerator, the water become ice.
Yes.
Now, if you take that ice, put it in a pot, turn the fire on, and you leave it until it becomes 100 degree. The ice will eventually become water again, and then it come steam at 100 degree. It becomes steam. Now, what did we change? We change the environment.
You're
and when
right,
we change
right.
the environment, we change the state of the water. So at room
Right.
temperature, it's water. At 0 degree, it's ice. And at 100 degree, it is steam. So the environment bring out the different dimension that is in the water. The same thing with individual. Now, if let's say you're a great footballer,
Right.
but you are not in that environment that is conducive for those abilities, for those talent, then that individual will never become that person.
True.
If Usain Bolt had never been in the right environment to develop that speed, to develop that ability, we will never heard of Usain Bolt. And it is true of every individual, because every individual have a potential to become somebody. But many times we don't see that because they are not in an environment that is conducive
They're
to
not
grow.
in the environment. They're not around the right people. And so those characteristics are not being pulled
Yes.
out of them. You know, a lot of times I'll get from different managers or leaders in various organizations, and they'll come to me and they say, boy, I have this one staff member, they are a headache, right? They're a real pain in the behind, and I don't know why. And you'd be surprised as a consultant. I'll say, all right, let's consider doing a lateral move. Let's put them in another department. And that same person that they consider to be a pain goes into another department with a
Yes.
completely different manager or another company,
Yes.
and they're stars.
Yes.
And then sometimes people wonder, like, you know, what did I do wrong? Why weren't they flourishing right here? And so this whole topic about environment and the fact that it matters where you are, it's important for leadership development.
Exactly. Because here's the thing: not everybody grow in the same environment.
True.
If you have a cactus and a mangrove don't grow in the same environment.
no.
Because a cactus grow in dry area.
Yes.
Mangrove grow in swampy area. And so even in our personal life, we have seen people who migrate, say, let's from Jamaica to the
Right.
United States, and they flourish, right? They weren't flourishing in Jamaica, but they went into a new environment that is conducive to their potential,
Right.
and they flourish. No, the reverse is also true. You might see someone who was not doing well in business in the United States, and they come to Jamaica, and that very business idea flourish. We know of a lot of big company in Jamaica that wasn't doing well overseas, but they come back to Jamaica and it's now
And they're doing
and it's a
great.
massive company. And so environment matters as much as the potential, because if the potential is not in the in a conducive environment, that potential will stifle and it will never become the thing that it was created to be. So as a leader in your personal life, we have to also create the environment for people to succeed. And for your personal life, you also have to create the environment for you
That's
to
it.
actually
I
succeed.
love the fact that you mentioned that, because that's a question that I ask myself. You have to know who you are and know what environments actually help you. And so, oftentimes I have to be dealing with um, high attrition rates in some organizations, and the questions may come: why are people leaving? The truth is, anyone who is self-aware will know when an environment is not for them.
Yes, yes.
That they'll say, since I've had this job, I've been more sick than I've ever been. I don't think I should stay here, or I'm gonna
Yes.
lose my entire life, right?
Yes, yes.
And so you have to know as a person which environment you thrive in,
Yes,
right?
yes.
But I want you to share, with the audience, share with those who are listening, like what is the mind food standard for an environment that's conducive to growth?
One of them is where others are ahead of you. Here's the thing though, if you are the tallest among dwarfs, you might believe that you are a giant.
My God.
And so if there's a saying that if you are head of the class, you are in the wrong
Yes.
class. So let me put that again. The first one of a growth environment is that you need to be in an environment where others are ahead of you.
Right.
Because if you are the tallest among dwarfs, you might believe that you are a giant. And so when you are in an environment where others are ahead of you, iron sharpen iron,
Right.
they pull that out of you. And because they're ahead of you, you want to become better.
You're learning
You're
from them.
learning from them, their mindset as well, because we need to develop our mindset. Because in a growth environment is all about your mindset, because as a man thinketh in his heart,
So
so
is
is he.
he.
Not your chest.
Right.
Because when Solomon says a man thinketh in his heart, so is he talking about your subconscious mind.
I wanted to interject right here, because I think that a lot of us, especially as entrepreneurs, and you are in the space and people know you publicly, you're pulled on, or even if they don't know you publicly, you're pulled on by everyone.
Yes.
Everybody's calling you to be a part of this project. Come help me with that. What do you think of this? And you forget that when people are around you and they're leaning on you, that they're taking from you. When you have people who are ahead of you, you have shoulders who can pour back into you
Yes.
after everybody else has sucked what they
Yes,
needed
yes.
from you. And a lot of times we forget that while we're growing,
Yes.
because everybody comes, take, and then you're saying, boy, I have nobody to call and I feel
Yeah,
down. I
yeah.
feel exhausted.
Yeah,
Right?
if a leader reach to a point or in your personal life that you don't have anybody to call upon, then you are in a
Serious problem,
yeah,
right?
yes. You need to have somebody. If you're always pouring out, you need to have somebody where you can
Pour back
call
in.
so that they can pour back into you. And as an individual, you have to grow from is an inside job.
Yeah.
It's an inside job. You with me? Because one of the things that humanity perish from is a lack of knowledge, where my people perish because they lack knowledge. But here's the thing about there's a thing that they say, there's a cliche that knowledge is power, but it is not necessarily true, because you can learn the wrong thing well and become an expert in
That is
error.
true. And in this day and age, you learn the wrong thing well, become an expert in error, and then you get a microphone and you get a camera, and
Yeah.
then you start preaching that error.
Yes,
And then
yes.
you gain your own audience of error,
Yeah,
and the error is being
yeah,
replicated at such
yeah.
high speed.
Yeah, because ignorance can be transferred.
Yeah, man, and it
Because
spread quick.
think about this ignorance. When it is raining and the sun is out, Satan and God are fight.
Yeah. Okay.
That's an error. That's a and where did we get that from? We
We
get
got
that
it from
from our
our
parents.
parents,
Yeah, and where our parents get that
from their
from
parents.
their parents, from their grandparents. And so we have this error whenever it rain and sun is out, Satan and God are fight. And so that's ignorance. But here's the thing. The master teacher Jesus never told us that it is his knowledge that set us free.
No.
He said it is the truth. So whatever knowledge that you are gaining, it must be truth. If not, you're going to become an expert in
In
error.
error. That's so powerful. Another thing about the growth environment, and we're talking about like mind food standard now.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
designers of change have their own standard of things, and when it comes to growing, this is
Yeah.
it. So others are ahead of you, but also you are constantly challenged.
Yes.
That like I find that I have to be when I'm out there and I'm doing whatever I'm doing, and people ask me for advice, I have to be reminding them, remember, you can't grow from comfort.
No,
You
no.
can't,
You
right?
can't. You
Because
can't.
especially our younger generation, they think that everything should be handed to them. And if they are following a path, if there is resistance, is a problem.
Yeah.
They feel it's not for them.
Yeah, yeah. Here's another thing as I talk about that where you need to be constantly challenged. There's a research that was done on people who won the Nobel Peace Prize, and what they found out is that 90% of those who win the Nobel Peace Prize, they never did anything important after winning the
Wow.
Nobel Peace Prize. And what should have been a stepping stone become a tombstone because it kind of shrink them into a place of complacency.
Right.
And so when you're in a place of complacency, it leads to mediocrity because there's nothing to challenge you, to pull
Right.
you out,
To
to
push you
challenge it.
forward, right?
Yes. So we have to, you see, success is a good thing, but on the dark side of success, if you're not careful, it can push you into mediocrity because he who worship the past will remain in it. Have you ever seen some singers who probably had a mega hit song many years
Man,
ago and they
yes.
didn't do anything after? And the only thing they talk about was
Is
that
that one
mega hit
song?
song, and it's that was 20 years
And
ago.
nobody even remembers
Nobody
it. But
remember it.
I
Yeah.
mean, that's something that they
Yeah.
continually
That
worship
is something they
and
continue.
never go back into the studio.
So as
So,
a leader and as a personal, as a leader and as a person, you have a perfect story of that, babes, with Nokia. You always say that in training with
oh
Nokia.
yeah, yeah,
They
yeah.
they they fall because they were so
They
much
didn't
into
change.
they didn't
In
change.
2007, Forbes magazine had an article with it was featuring Nokia, and they said Nokia, the cell phone king, can
Adi.
anybody catch them
Yeah.
with over 2
Yeah,
billion
was
user,
one
1
one
billion
billion user.
user. And I mean, if everybody can recall during that time,
Yeah.
everybody know the Nokia 3310,
Yeah, Nokia
the
3310.
phone that you can literally fall
Yeah.
from off the roof and you'll go downstairs, pick up the pieces, and it will work,
Yeah.
right? But Nokia did not change.
They did not
They did
change.
not change.
I think they're stuck in the past worshiping their success. And so
Right.
that's one of the dark side of success. We become
Right.
complacent. We believe as if there's nothing more else to
To
achieve.
achieve,
To achieve.
or I'm already it, so there's
Yeah.
nobody else that can come close.
Yeah.
And there's just so much more when it comes to the growth environment. And so we want you guys to stick and stay because we're gonna continue this discussion, but we're gonna go for a break. So just stick and stay with us. We'll be right back. So happy to have you back at the Designers of Change podcast. We are proudly sponsored by Jace Myrie Media, Vibrant Creative Studio, Mind Food International, Superlative Auto, Amanda's Kitchen, Jamaica, and Grace Creates. So we are continuing our discussion because we are pretty much talking about environment,
Yeah.
and we had a really great start. I love the fact that you pretty much reminded us that we cannot grow in comfort. We need
Yes.
people ahead of us, so we need mentors.
Yes.
So what about the people who think that, boy, I don't need a mentor. I can just watch something online. I can listen to some podcasts. I don't necessarily need, anybody to guide me. I'll figure it out.
That's a long way to learn anything. There's a Chinese proverbs, and it said to know the road ahead, ask those who are coming back.
Yes.
And so when you have a mentor is like a shortcut to your future. They know what did not work in the past, and
Right.
so you can build up off their failure. For example, when the Wright brother were designing the first aircraft, they learned from somebody else what did not work. So if we know that did not work in the past, we can also build up on that which did not work. And so when you have a mentor, sometimes mentor open doors that you can never go
Yes.
through
So true.
yourself.
So true.
And so having a mentor is so vital in our life, because some of the things that you probably would have experienced, they prevent you from that.
Right. They would have told you not to go that direction, or
Yeah.
point it in,
Point into the right. Yeah.
somewhere else,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
we need that. And then again, when you are in the growth environment, comfort is not something that we should expect all the
No,
time.
no. You have to. We love comfort. Human being love comfort, but being in a comfortable place for too long leads to mediocrity,
Yes.
and it leads to stagnation, and then life will pass you by. Imagine you are making floppy disk, and you were so good at making floppy disk. You'd be in business today, right?
Absolutely not.
No.
What we're gonna use the what we're
You'd
gonna
be,
use the floppy disk
yeah,
for, right?
yeah.
So that definitely says a lot. And I want to mention too, and this is again, we're talking about the designers have changed standard for a growth environment. You have to focus
Yeah,
forward.
I think you need to talk about that, because
Yes.
sometimes I can be reminiscent something so long, and
Yes,
sometimes.
yes. Mr. Wright will literally replay a situation 100 million times. And by the time he gets to the fifth time, I'm like, done. Please stop. It's too much for me, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm always thinking forward. I don't know. Maybe it's because of how I was raised and the fact that I had gone through so much. I somehow developed a kind of mindset that once something goes wrong, immediately my mind starts putting things together to say, okay, move that out of the way, do that next time. That's just how I think.
Yeah.
And I've learned the principle, especially when it comes to driving. You can't drive effectively by staring in the rear view mirrors.
Yeah.
You won't be able to move forward effectively by doing that, because where you are going, that's where your head has to be.
Yeah. And
Yes.
yeah, you mentioned something. I don't. Did I cut you?
No, you did, but it's okay. I'm used to you cutting me anyways.
You said something powerful,
Yes.
that wherever your head is, that's
That's
where
where
your
you're
body going.
going.
In tight roping, I don't know if anybody know about tight roping. Tight roping is when a guy or a female, they walk on a rope, and they have this stick in their hand, and they would teach the technique in tight roping is that you won't go look in the direction that you want to go. So a tight roper, he never looks down, because if he or she looks down, they know that they are going down. And in motor car and bike racing, they always tell the driver to point your head in the direction that where you want to go, because you automatically steer yourself in that. So if you are always looking back, you are going to stagnate. And there are so many times, and it's not only in bad things that people keep on reminiscing about,
But good things too.
for good things too, because the good old days,
Man.
my company was doing well in 2000, and
Yes.
something happened, and they always keep on going back. And the thing is that you can't go back in time, you can move forward. And so if you keep on looking back for too long, you can look back, and learn
Right.
and reflect
Right.
and move forward. But if you are stuck if you're stuck always looking back, then you're going to be a pillar of salt.
You know, also, if it is that you're going to be living in the past, rest assured you will make those same old mistakes.
Yes.
Because you haven't appreciated that you are a human being, you made some errors, and you're ready to move on. You're still living in that situation,
Yeah.
although your circumstance has changed. So, again, you know, if you want to be in an environment that is growing, you have to focus on what's ahead, not what's behind. And I just want to share this quick point as well. Give people grace. As simply put as that. Give people grace. You may be in a situation where you have somebody on the job that you're thinking of, man, we can't do anything further. Think again. Give people time and give them grace, because the person that somebody is today may be a completely different person tomorrow, right?
Yes, yes.
And you don't want a case to come where you're in tomorrow and you're thinking, oh my, I wish I had just given them a little bit more time, because we're people and we
Yeah,
change.
yeah.
Another important thing about the growth environment is that it has to have a kind of space where it allows people to feel.
Yes, that's very important, because here's the thing about life, and people think they can avoid failure. And that is one of the reasons why people don't take risks. I'm not saying you should take reckless risk. Let me say it again. Do not take reckless risk. If a risk can wipe you out in one go, that's not a risk worth taking.
Right.
But you must take calculative risks. I think we have been programmed from school not to fail.
Yes.
And so if you because when I was at primary school, school becomes such a frightening experience for me, because other people were ahead of me. And so when I did my test, I probably would get 40 or 30%. And so the teacher would look down at you. They'd put you in the naughty corner.
By the way, guys, it's so strange hearing him talking about 30 and 40%,
Yeah.
because by the time I met Jamar in university, he
Yeah.
was like ahead of every class. He was the type of person. I remember one day in particular, we had an exam and we were in what was that? Drawing room at UTech. And I remember distinctly that I was about to sit beside Jamar, and I'll never forget. Boy, Kenisha, if you see this, big up. Kenisha pushed me way down
Yeah.
because she wanted to sit beside you. And I was saying, well, that's strange. But when I got out of the exam, I said, okay, I probably shouldn't think it's strange, because I know what Jamar was always ahead of the class. He knew everything. He's the type of person, when he came out of the exams, you did not want to be around him, because then when you hear him talking, you're like, oh my gosh, I did foolishness. But so it's so strange sometimes hearing
Yeah.
that.
Because we are taught not to fail.
Yes.
And it cripples us, because you don't take any risk, while the opposite is true in life, because the person who failed the most in life is usually the person who succeed in life,
There you
because we
go.
might start, let's just say we start out right here.
Right.
We are doing maths, and let us say both of us fail maths, and I remain faithful at maths and
Right.
learning, and I become discouraged. A person on the left become discouraged. We did maths again, both of us fail. I remain right here, so I remain faithful to maths. I want to know, why did I
Right.
fail maths? This person become a little bit more discouraged. We both of us do maths well.
For the third
For the
time.
third time, we fail again. I remain faithful. I say, I'm going to find a way to do maths. This person quits.
Oh my.
I did maths the fourth time, I passed. And so here am I. So this person who quits, see this person as super successful.
Right.
What had happened if he had remained faithful to
You'd
the
be on
very
the
thing,
same level.
they would be on the level. So the person we see successful in life, those are usually the people
Who don't quit.
who don't quit. But guess what? they fail more often.
Fail more often. So that's the only difference. When you look at the big names and so on, the
Yeah.
only difference between you and them is that they have failed and more things that you have
Possibly.
possibly
Yes.
tried in. I mean, I want before we go,
Mm-hmm.
because we're pretty much wrapping up. I want you to share. I'm gonna share two things
Mm-hmm.
that I do to ensure that my environment is conducive to growth, and you can do the same.
One of my thing is that I always spend time buying books and listening to videos on YouTube
That's true.
because you have to pour in your mindset, because you see growth is an inside job. If you get bigger on the inside, you will get better on the outside.
Right.
The Bible says, stinking thinking lead to a stinking life.
That's in the Bible?
Yes, it's a MS. It is a MSG version.
MSG?
Yeah, I think it's Book of
Seasoning
Eagle.
in the Bible?
Yeah, yeah. It's that the message version, right? Yeah, stinking thinking lead to a stinking life, and
Wow.
so you have to constantly feed right here. As a man thinketh in his heart,
So is
so
he.
is he. And the last one, you need to be around people who can pull you ahead.
Oh
Now it's
wow.
your
No, it's
time.
my time. My two things. Well, one, I'm all about having peaceful time or alone time. And Jamar can attest to this, right? No matter like the environment, no matter if I just be on a stage and there are hundreds of people there, by the time we are in the car and heading home or heading to the hotel or wherever, he knows that
Yeah.
that is the time he needs to, because I need to recalibrate. So I'm all about having some peaceful time, and I grow that way. I can reflect, right? I
Yeah.
can think things through.
Yeah.
And another thing too, I cannot mention reading because you already jumped on that. Is I take criticisms very well.
Yeah, that's another thing.
I can take them very well. And sometimes the criticisms are extremely harsh.
Yeah.
But you know, I heard a quote the other day, and it's from Auburn Hill. And he said he treats his most destructive critic as an unpaid consultant.
Wow.
And I said, man, that's the attitude I want.
Yeah.
Because guess what? They are giving me information so that I can become a better
Yeah,
person.
yeah.
And so I take criticisms very well.
You know that is true. Is there times I can squeeze out something
So
or
squeeze it out
squeeze it
quickly.
out? You know the only person you can't see in this room, guess who is that?
Me.
You can't see you. And so sometimes other people can see something that you can't see. And I'm talking about constructive criticism.
Right.
And so when they give you that constructive criticism, we have to eat the meat
And throw away
and
the
show away the
bone.
bone and improve ourselves, because some of the greatest innovation comes from critics. And here's the thing. When we have an idea is never finished by the individual who owns that idea.
Oh, it's always somebody
It's
else.
someone has to add to the idea. For example, we with this podcast,
Right.
Jason and his team would add to the podcast to make the
Right.
podcast better. But we have the idea. So your idea is never finished
Powerful.
by the individual. An
Powerful.
idea becomes better by other mind. Did we squeeze out everything out
Man,
of
you
it, man?
definitely squeeze that right in. And so, guys, environment matters as much as your potential.
Yeah.
As gifted, as talented as you are, you need the environment that's conducive to your growth. And I think Mr. Wright did so well with sharing
Yeah.
quite a bit of nuggets for us.
Yeah.
And so we just want to say thank you to our amazing sponsors
Yeah.
for, partnering with us for Designers of Change podcast. And so a big shout out to Jace Myrie Media, Vibrant Creative Studio, Mind Food International, Superlative Auto, Amanda's Kitchen Jamaica, and Grace Creates.
Yes. So see you again. See you
See you
again.
next time.
Like the Terminator, we will be back.
Thank you for joining us for the Designers of Change podcast. Join us on the next episode.